Hello friends, this is Ganesh and video number 24 on ABAP. So this is a continuation of modularization technique concept. The last video I explained about macros and here I'm going to explain about subroutines. So the concept is same, maybe first few slides is same like the previous one. So modulation technique, it has wherever you need the same lines to be repeated in different places in the same program or a different program. So keep the particular lines in a space and give a name for it. And there are four types for that particular space. One is macros, subroutine, function model, include program, and everything has its own properties. So depends on your requirement, depends on your feasibility. So you can just go ahead with any one of the type called modulation techniques. Mostly we prefer go with subroutine compared to macros, because macros is suitable only for few lines and you're going to call one or twice in your program. Okay. But if you want to keep more lines like 10 or 15 lines and you're going to call very frequently in a program, so preferable to go with subroutines. Okay. And yeah, these are the types. And about subroutines, one is the format. So how the format for subroutine, one second. Yeah, the format would be form and end form is the, we can say, syntax, and perform is the keyword to call your subroutine. Okay. Here I think there is no space. Give me a minute. So no space between n and form. So if you want to define a subroutine, you need form and end form is a block. How you maintain in the macros, like define macro name, end of definition. The same way, form, name of your subroutine, end form, and perform is a keyword to call your subroutine. Okay, perform subroutine name. That is a way how to call your subroutine. And this is actually called processing blocks. Okay, form, end form is a processing block. And if you take object oriented concept, oops concept, class implementation is a processing block. So the ground rule in ABAP is, if there is any processing block, after the processing block, if you have any executable program, the compiler won't recognize any executable program after the processing block. Okay. But any executable statements, okay, it's very clearly I can say, after a processing block, if you type any executable statement, the compiler won't understand anything after the processing block. Okay. But after the processing block, you can have a declarations, data A type I, B type I. Yes, that's fine. The syntax error, you won't get any syntax error. But if there is any executable statement, but apart from the declaration, so A equal to B, or write some statements, loop, read, these are executable statements. So after the processing block, if you have any executable statement, you will get a syntax error. Okay. So for that, either don't keep any executable statement after the processing block, one way. Another way, you need an event. Even I want, it's very rare, I need to have executable statement at the after the processing block. Mostly we will keep the processing blocks at the end of our program. Okay, so that way we will resolve this issue. Another way is, you can have an event like after processing blocks. If you want to add any executable statement, there is an event called start of selection. Okay, so once you start learning the reports, you come to know what are the events available to write a program. One of the event is start of selection, so you have to use that event start of selection, then you can have any executable statement. Okay, additionally, after processing block, you can have another processing block. That won't be any issue. I have a form, subroutine 1 end form, some codes end form, then I can have form subroutine 2 some codes end form. Okay, so after processing block, you can have one more or another processing block, but you can't have any executable statement after the processing block. I will show you the syntax error as well. And you should be very good. Once you start learning the subroutine, you should know what is global, which variables are local, and which are formal and which are actual parameters, because it's not you always go to create a new subroutine, so you can create without parameters as well. But if you're going to understand existing program which is developed by someone else, so you should know what are the variables or defined, and what is the scope of the variable. That is very important, okay? Because global is going to be the entire program, it's available, it's going to be available, and the scope of local is only particular processing block, particular area, only that value or the lifetime of the particular variable is available. So that is even local. And formal and actual parameter is nothing but um, we are able to send some values while calling the subroutine. Same like macros. We mentioned the placeholders, right? Ampersand 1, ampersand 2. The same thing, we are able to pass some values from my main program to the subroutine. So that is nothing but actual and formal parameters. So you should aware of these terminologies well and good once you start learning the subroutines. And then there are two functionalities I can say: call by value, call by reference. It's very simple. We learned many times, maybe probably in our college days as well. So call by value means I'm going to call a particular variable only by value, and I'm going to pass the address of the particular variable is nothing but call by reference. I will show you what is call by value and call by reference. It's pretty simple, and that is a part of the subroutine. Another one is able to call from another program. Yes, compared to macros, subroutines you are able to call from another program. Technically, we have some names for it. If you call a subroutine from the same program, we call it as internal subroutines. If you call a subroutine from another program, defined in another program, we call it as external subroutine. Okay, so just a terminology: what is internal and what is external. So that is the advantage of subroutine. You are able to call a subroutine from another program. It's mean and another statement that is available. It's visible for another program, so you're able to do it. Okay, and yeah. Okay, I think I have one more slide. I'll tell you a little later. Let's see till this third point, and then I will have one more slide for call by value and call by reference. Then I'll again explain the same in the system. Okay, let's get into the system. So this is my system, and here I'm going to define my subroutine. Okay, subroutine. Here you can have even ABAP keyword also name of your subroutine, because macros won't accept any ABAP keyword as a macro name. So a form and inform, and here I'm going to say write subroutine called. Subroutine called. Another name we call it as form and inform, or forms generally we call it as, but technically we call this one is called subroutines. Maybe for your reference you can keep saying functions and all, because we have a function module, so that is the reason in ABAP we are not saying this as a function, either a subroutine or forms. And to call a subroutine, perform is a statement add. Okay, so this is a definition of your subroutine, and this is the way to call the subroutine: activate and execute it. So my subroutine called. So and any times you are able to, if you want, you can call a number of times. So normally we used to keep some select statement or some validation we used to keep in the subroutines, because many different places I need to validate, for example, plant or master data like material information, or connection between the material and the plant. Maybe more than one place the same validation to be happen. If that is a scenario, we need to keep one subroutine especially for validations. Okay, normally in real time you can have n number of subroutines based on your requirement or the design. So here I'm just calling 3 times the subroutine. So it's called here. And another one is the processing block. So this is a processing block. Form and end form is a processing block. After a processing block, if you have any declaration, you are good. Okay. And if you have any executable program, a equal to 10, or you can say write anything. Maybe I'll go with a first. A equal to write executable line, not same program, executable line or executable statement. Check. You'll get an error. Statement is not accessible. It's not showing an error for 20, it's showing the error for 22. because it won't consider anything on the declaration part, only the executable statement. So these are called executable statement, non-declarative statements or executable statement. It shows very clearly statement is not accessible. So basically what we do is keep the processing block or definition of your subroutine at the end of your program. It's always safer side. So no error now. Okay. And after the subroutine, you can have one more subroutine. Means you can have another processing block like addition, maybe sales details, inform. Check the program. So no syntax error. So you can have one more processing block after the processing block. Okay, but not the executable statement. But still 90% we are going to write the code like this. But still you want to say no, after the subroutine I want to just have executable statement. Then you can have start of selection as an event, start hyphen of hyphen selection. Then you can say write executable statement with event F2. So now no syntax error. Let me activate, excuse me, F8. So my subroutine call, my subroutine call, executable line and executable statement with event. Okay. So this is a way to avoid or to have an executable statement after the processing blocks. Okay, it's clear now. The next one is so inside subroutine also, if you want, you can call. It's like I can say perform add. So no syntax error, but it won't change any output because I didn't call the sales details. So if you want, you can call this perform sales details. So 3 times subroutine 1, fourth time 1, 2, 3, 4 subroutine call executable line. I think I don't have any write statement. Yep. Write sales details subroutines. Execute. So subroutine 3 times and sales details subroutine, my subroutine called, because inside the sales I called the same subroutine again, means another subroutine again. And this is normal executable statement right before the start of selection, and this is after start of selection event. The another one is simply you can able to pass, like I can say variables, so or parameters. Okay, while calling a subroutine, so I want to pass some values. Yes, you are able to do it. So what are the things I'm able to pass? The first one is you are able to pass the variables and work area. Most of the mediums you're able to pass. Okay, internal table. So field symbols probably I didn't touch, I believe. So field symbols. So I think field symbols I completed. Okay, field symbols. So most of the mediums which carries the value, you are able to use it in your perform statement, meaning subroutine statement while calling a subroutine. So for that, first you have to learn two things. One is actual and formal parameters. Okay. So if you pass any values while calling or with the help of perform statement, if you call a subroutine and while calling you're passing any variables, we call it as actual parameters. Okay. And while receiving in the form and end form, you are receiving the values through a variable that is called formal parameters. So value you can't pass it, right? So you need some variables to receive it. So here what I'm going to do is let me modify my add definition. So here I need two variables. Okay, so I'm going to use a keyword called using Using as a keyword, you have to mention it before declare or okay, it's kind of declaration only before mentioning any variable names. So here I can say formal. This is for your reference, I'm saying, okay. Formal variable 1 type I. I mentioned this is a kind of declaration. So, but this is the type is optional. It's not required. You have to declare the variable type in the formal parameter, but it's a best practice. Better you do that. Next is another one is formal. You can be in the same line. Formal parameter or variable. I can say variable 2. So here I just make the declaration is optional. Let it be. So my assumption is this subroutine, while calling the subroutine from the same program or a different program, that particular program should pass a value to my formal parameter. Okay, so that is my assumption. So this is nothing but formal parameter. And here I'm going to declare a variable. I can say result. Because I want to add the formal parameter, whatever I'm receiving. So I'm saying LV result equal to formal variable 1 plus formal variable 2. Okay. So this is called local variable because within variable, within the form, within your processing block, if you declare any variable, we consider that as a local variable, meaning that variable scope or lifetime is only within this form and end form. Okay. And if I say I want to display a write LV result, okay, let me go ahead and do it here. Write LV result. Okay. If you try to activate or try to check, it shows very clearly LV result is unknown because the scope is only within the parameter or within the block. But here I try to use LV result. Maybe I can use the same write statement over here. I won't get any issues. Let me comment this, Control F2. So, okay, this issue I'll just comment later. So here it won't give any issue if you use LV result within the block. So this is called local variables. So we have seen formal parameters and local variable. Okay. And what is actual? While calling the particular subroutine, you need to pass a value. Okay. So here you have two options. You can pass the values. Okay. I missed the keyword using. You can hard code the value. That is also possible. It's not always you need to go with the parameter or variable to be declared, not required. Okay. Otherwise, suppose I'm going to declare a variable. Variable 2 type I. So now runtime I'm getting it. Otherwise, you can use a data keyword, you create a variable and pass a value and send it as an actual parameter. Another one is actual variable 2. Okay, let me change the name. Okay, actual variable 2. Let me comment this, otherwise I'll get a syntax error. Control F2. Cannot be more than 8 characters. Okay. Actual variable 2. Actual variable 2. So what is next? Okay, let me comment this because I redefine my subroutine with the parameters. So whenever I have used the perform the particular subroutine, I have to pass a value. Okay, so if you want, I can show you here. I can pass 10, 20, and with the help of using keyword. Control F2, no syntax errors. So this is the way to call a subroutine with the parameters, and you should know this is called actual parameters. Okay, this one, actual parameters, and this is called formal parameters, and this is local variable. So what is global variable? Simple. If you have a declaration at the beginning of your program or to the main program, not within the processing blocks, then those are called global variable. So this variable can be accessed throughout your program. Suppose here I can say write GV result, and here I'm updating the value of the result to the GV result variable. So I can say GV result equal to a local variable. Normally we won't do that, just for your reference I'm doing it, because directly you can pass a value to GV result. You don't want additional statement to pass a value GV result. And afterward it, okay, I'm just giving 100, execute. So my subroutine call 200, I just use 100 plus operation, and here is my sales details, the subroutines, and my subroutines called. Okay, let me clearly addition of two numbers. Okay, I don't want this, we have seen already. And after state browsing block, I have start of selection. That's it. Okay, so first time I'm going to pass 100 and whatever value the runtime. And second time I'm going to call 10 and 20. So this is always 30 only. So this is actually sales detail subroutine. It's executed. I can say 1000. So first time saying 1000. So 1100 it should come. And here 30 and 30 because I pass a hard coded value 10 and 20. So hope you might aware of what is actual, what is formal, what is global, and what is local variables. Clear? What else? Okay. The next we're going to see about call by value. So call by value, we have already learned in the previous like languages or the college days. So it's very simple. So every variable has its own reference, or I can say address. Okay, if you create any variable in a program, it creates an internal memory allocation, so it has its own address. So here you can see two variables I have created, and these are values. 100 and 200 is a value for this variable, but internally it got assigned with some address. Example, I am using 1002. It has its own format, and 1004. So every variable has its own address. So call by value means I'm going to send the value of the particular variable to my subroutine. So here A and B is the actual parameters, and in the subroutine whatever is going to receive, those variables are called formal parameters. So here we are passing just a value of a variable. So if that is the case, that particular variable, whatever is creating inside your subroutine, we call it as local or formal parameters, it has its own address. Okay, it's quite different from your actual parameter address. So it's 2010, 2020. Here also is the same example. So here we are passing just the variable and just make use of the value of it. So meaning if any changes happens in C and D, it won't reflect because there is no connection, direct connection between your actual and formal parameters. It has its own memory, it has its own memory. So the call by value means you can make use of the value, and if you change anything, it won't reflect in your actual parameters. So that is the value, that is the idea of call by value. Okay. So call by value, the syntax would be, the syntax changes only in the form, not in the perform. Perform, you're going to use the same coding only, and form only we're going to make use of a keyword called value. Value of A, value of B. So we are going to give a information to the system. Consider A as a call by value. It's using call by value concept, and B is also, we have to consider B is a call by value parameter. And there are combination, you can have call by value and call by reference in the same form statement. Okay, that is also possible. I will show you. Call by reference is, instead of sending a value, we are going to send the address of the variable, okay, to the subroutine. So here I'm sending A and B along with the address. So 1002 and 1004, again it's an example. So it gives the same address of A to C, B to D, meaning A and C pointing to same address, B and D pointing to same address. So if any change happens either in C, it reflects to A. Any change happens in A, it reflects to C, because this is called by reference. Both variable actual and formal parameter address are same. Okay, so that is the meaning of call by reference. So you are sending the address of the variable to the subroutine or the function wherever it's going to be happen. Clear? So that is something called call by reference. So we're passing the address. Because of the address is same, it's going to be reflect whenever you just change in C, immediately it reflects to. It won't wait the control comes out of subroutine to the main program. No, whenever there is a change happen in C, immediately it reflects to A, because A and C points to same address. So this is called by reference. And quite interesting part is using, okay, the syntax form add using AB. If there is no value keyword before any variable, then system considers that is by call by reference. Okay, or probably it should be C and D here. One second. Let's go with the same one. C, D, value of C. And value of T. Okay, for means formal parameters. So syntax is like this. Okay, value of C or D, and here it is just A and sorry, C and D. You can have same variable name, that doesn't make any difference, but for your reference I used a different variable names in formal and actual actual and formal parameters. So the next is using and changing. Along with call by value and call by reference, you should be good with two more keywords called using and changing. And I always prefer create a very simple program, simple statements inside a subroutine, addition of two numbers, or just assign a new value to the variables, and try to understand how the call by value works, call by reference work, how the call by value works for using and changing, how the call by reference work for using and changing, how this is going to work for other medium called workarea. So everything just play around, and if you're comfortable with it, you can start using the logics or starting using this in your real time. So using and changing. So in the previous example, so previous slide, we have used a keyword called using. Okay, the same thing I'm going to explain here. What is using and changing? As per SAP reference, there is no separate functionality between using and changing. In other words, there is no difference between using and changing. Okay, so let's see how it works. A equal to 10, B equal to 20. This is probably the previous example I already shown you. With the help of keyword called using, passing a values A 10, B 20, it's going to receive in C and D, and then I'm changing the value of C and D in the subroutine. C is equal to 100, D equal to 200, but it's not reflecting in my actual parameters, because I'm just using a keyword called using, meaning just use the value of my variable, don't do anything else. Okay, so first we learned what is call by value, call by reference, then we are going to learn using and changing keyword, then we are going to combine both call by value using how it works, call by reference using how it works, same for changing how it works. Okay, next, changing, the name itself you might understand, we are expecting or we are giving a confirmation to the system you have to do a changing aspect or functionality in this formal and actual parameter. So changing is not a call by reference. Okay, it's very clear. So changing is nothing but I'm sending a value A equal to 10, B equal to 20 over here. It receives C equal to 10, D equal to 20. And then whenever there is a change happens, C equal to 100, D equal to 100, it won't reflect directly to the actual parameters because this is changing. Okay, so it waits until subroutine is going to be ends. Once the subroutine ends, then it will go and update your actual parameters. Okay, so that is the idea of changing. Changing is nothing but it waits for the last update, recent update. It will take the recent updated value from formal and is going to update it in the actual. But there are some exceptional cases, meaning if there is any exception happens or the subroutine terminated because of some exception in the middle of the subroutine, then the value won't reflect in your actual parameter. Okay, it's like once an exception happens, the entire process stops. Okay, so it won't update anything, it won't come back to the main program. So that is another one, but that's the way it is. If it is update, it won't update the actual parameter if any exception happens. So this is using and changing. It's almost, you can say, okay, using you can relate with call by value, changing you can relate with call by reference. That's good. So the next one is call by reference, using and changing keyword with call by reference. Okay, so now if you say call by reference, if you see call by reference, forget about using and changing, because call by reference anyway the address is same between auxiliary and formal. So what is in need of using and changing? The output is same. So here the address is same for A and C, B and D. So whether it's using or changing, whatever it is, whenever there is a change happens, it immediately reflects or affects your actual parameter because of call by reference. Okay, so there is no difference between using and changing if you use call by reference. Next, using and changing call by value. So that there is a difference over here, meaning using means make sure you are using the value like this. If you use a value call by value using keyword, so C is equal to 10, D equal to 20, there is some change happened in the subroutine, it's not reflecting in your actual parameter because that addresses are different. We are using call by value. But changing, okay, even though the address is different, but we are forcefully asking the system, please do a change whenever there is a change in your subroutine. So changing, what happens, it won't reflect immediately because the address are different. So if there is a change happens, it waits. For example, it receives C is equal to 10 and 20 initially, then is changed C is equal to 100 and 200, it won't reflect in your actual parameter because addresses are different. And the last line, see, so last updated value, not last line, last updated value of your formal parameter is 1000 and 2000, and at the end of the subroutine, the last and latest value is going to be affected or reflected in your actual parameters. That is the difference between using and changing in call by value. Okay, so you have to wait till the subroutine is not you, the system has to wait. Okay, so no confusion whether I go with using or changing. Very simple. The actual parameter value to be used only in subroutine. I don't want to any mess on my actual parameter. Go with using. Okay, I'm expecting some changes to be happened. Whatever is happening in changing so inside the subroutine, I want that to be affected in my actual parameter. You have two options. Either go by call by reference or you can go by call by value and changing keyword. Okay, so it's very simple. Another one, using and changing workarea. Workarea is nothing but another medium. It works the same way as your variable. Whatever the previous slide we have seen how a variable A, B, C, D is work for call by value, call by reference with using and changing keyword. Similar manner your workarea also works. Okay, this is nothing but another medium to hold the value. So here, this is my actual parameter, formal parameter, and this is actually using keyword, and this is like call by value. So if it is call by value, whatever is changing happens in your inside subroutine or formal parameter, it won't affect it. And if it is a using call by reference, the addresses are same. So what happens if there is any change in your subroutine of your work area, formal work area, it affects your actual work area as well. Changing is same like even if it is a call by value, because of the changing keyword, it forcefully at the end of or after the subroutine ends, then the updated value, latest updated value of your formal work area to be transferred to your actual work area. Same thing with call by reference, forget about changing or using, it will work, it will give a preference to call by reference only. Change happens, immediately reflects your actual. Okay, this is about work area. Next, tables. tables is another keyword, is especially for body of an internal table. Okay, so you want to send more than one data, the sequence of records I want to send to my subroutine for the process, then we can use a keyword called tables. A point here is tables is a keyword. It always comes first in your subroutine statement. Suppose you have a subroutine statement like perform subroutine name, then you have a internal table and some variables, some workerays you're going to give, then you have to keep the tables as the first preference, or the first place you have to keep tables. Suppose if you say perform subroutine using some variables, then tables, you will get a syntax error. So tables keyword always comes to the first if it is available. And another one, tables is always called by reference. Call by value is not applicable for tables keyword. It's always called by reference only. Okay, so whenever there is a change happens in your subroutine or a main program, it immediately reflects wherever it has been used. It's a two-way communication, so nothing big over here. Okay, I will show you everything in the system, so you'll get some more good idea about call by value, call by reference, using, changing, work area, tables, and everything. So I'll just go with a new program. So I can say perform add using AB. Okay. Data A type I value 10. So I'll just go very simple example. I don't want to use parameters, any complex logic over here, because try to understand what is call by value, what is call by reference, how the using and changing keywords are getting used. Okay. Another one more way of creating a subroutine is just double click. Okay, it will ask subroutine add does not exist. If it does exist, it will take you to the subroutine. If not, it will ask, do you want to create? I say yes. Where you want to create either a new include program, master program. We didn't see about include program, so I'm going to choose the master program. Okay, sorry, means the same program. Okay, continue. It creates a kind of a structure or a format for you. With some command line, you can add what is the use of the subroutine and what are the parameters, what you are expecting and everything. It creates by default value format is p_a for your parameters. Okay. So using a, I need to declare it as best practice. Even you can skip as well. Excuse me. p_a, p_b. So now I didn't use anything. So if I'm not using any keywords before a formal parameter, then that is containing nothing but call by reference. Okay. So here now I'm going to use call by reference using keyword. So call by reference means forget about using or changing. So now I'm going to display the value. It's like before. So before subroutine, A and B value, actual parameters value, and this is after subroutine, A and B value. Okay. And inside the subroutine, I'm trying to modify the value of my formal parameters, and we'll see how it's reflect depends on the subroutine call. So here the subroutine call is call by reference with using keyword. Sorry, if it is call by reference, forget about which keyword you're using. So let's activate. The expectation is after the subroutine, whatever the value is updating here, it should reflect, even though we are just using. So the address using is nothing but we are asking the subroutine, please make use of only the values of your parameters, but we are passing as a call by reference. How you determine call by reference? There is no value before your formal parameters. Execute. So this is before subroutine 10 and 20, after subroutine 100 and 200. So the same thing, if I use call by reference with Okay, here you're not determining anything, like it's a call by reference or call by value. Only the form level you are able to do it. So this is called by reference with using keyword. If it is called by value, for your easy understanding, let me have a separate one. Okay. So now this is going to be called by called by value with using keyword. We'll complete the value first. So call by value means you have to use value of formal parameter. Value of formal parameter. So this is called by value using keyword. Afterward, execute. So values of actual parameter before and after subrouting is same because we mentioned very clearly it's called by value using keyword. Just make use of only the value. Don't change anything or don't reflect the value of formal to actual. So that is called by value using. You can have both in one, like call by value one parameter and call by value another parameter. So maybe I can go ahead with this. Call by value and reference with using parameter. So here call by value, call by reference. So p underscore a, it's like first one is called by first parameter is called by value, next parameter is called by reference. So expectation is the second actual parameter to be changed because it's called by reference. Yes, it got changed here. So call by value is no, there is no change before and after. Call by reference, that is a change. Okay. So you can accommodate call by value, call by reference in one form statement itself. Same subroutine. Now, what next? Changing. Suppose if I use changing keyword, called by reference changing. So there's not much difference if you use call by reference. So call by reference by changing keyword. Call by reference with changing keyword. So here what happens, it's called by reference. So address is going to be same output will trigger before and after. Same in the sense the updated output. So here it's 10 and 20. After call by reference changing, it's got reflected in your actual parameter. Okay. Now call by reference, call by value changing keyword. So even though it's value, because of the keyword, it will reflect the last or latest updated value of your formal parameter to actual. So that is the value or functionality of call by value changing keyword. 1000 p underscore b equal to 2000, and let me have one more is equal to 100 and 150. P underscore b equal to 250. Okay. So call by value changing keyword, it reflects the last updated value to your actual parameters. So if you execute 100, 200, 150 and 250. Okay. So it won't pass, it won't update any value of 1000, 2000 at any time because this is called by value. So addresses are different, but because of the changing, it updated the latest updated formal parameter to actual parameter. So clear? I hope this is good enough for call by value, call by reference, using and changing. So now I'm going to use the same call by value, call by reference. Probably I can go with another program for work area and tables. Subroutine tree, executable program, local object. Okay. So now I have a Mara type. Okay. So select single start from Mara into WA Mara. So let me write what is inside the work area. What is the value actually before subroutine WA Mara median. I just go with only material number. Okay. Next, I'm going to have a subroutine perform updates Mara using. So I'm going to use using keyword. Maybe initially go with call by reference, and you can double click. It will create the outline for you. If not, okay, let me do that. Double click. It exists. It automatically goes to the subroutine. If not, it will ask, do you want to create? Yes, I want to create. I'll just grow the same program. I don't want any new include. So here it is. Subroutine and the type should be Mara. Okay. Here what I'm doing is I just modify it. Okay. Let's select Mara hyphen Matner. In the select statement, I just go with some hard coded value. So if you want to do some logics, just proceed with that. Okay. So call by reference with using keyword for work area. After. Okay, let's act over it. So this call by reference, you know, the address is same. So before subroutine, the first material number would be 1, and I modified manually material number equal to 100, so it's reflected here. So this is called by reference. If I say call by value for a work area, same like your data variables, data objects. Okay, so there is no difference. Oh, sorry, there is a mistake here. The name should change. Okay, one second. P underscore WMR Matner. I changed the actual parameter as it is basically because it's a global variable. So F8 it says 1 1. So call by value using keyword is same like your variable. So it won't reflect your actual work area. Formal work area, actual work area. So you can say forward parameter, actual parameter, just for your reference. So next is changing. Changing doesn't make any difference because let's see, changing, I'll go with changing call by, okay, first I'll go changing call by value. So it just updated the last, only the last updated value to your actual parameter. So unnecessarily I don't want to disturb my actual parameter. If that is the case, you go with changing. I don't only the last latest value. So 1001, because this is changing value. So changing a reference, it doesn't make any difference because the reference, the address is going to be changed. Now what happens, it's going to update the actual parameter. For example, suppose you have like 10 or 15 times you are changing the actual formal parameters. You don't want those values to be updated in the actual. I want only the latest update, then go with changing. But every change what is reflecting, it needs to be updated in my actual, then go with call by reference. So here call by reference changing, there is no change in the output. So 1 and 1001. Clear? And now we are going to use tables keyword. So let me have a table type here, data IT Mara, table of Mara. So as I mentioned, if you want to send tables, that needs to be as a first parameter, otherwise you'll get a syntax error. So it's not changing into blue. So let me it here. It's blue now. Okay. So here I had to use tables. So tables is always p underscore Mara. What do you call by reference? Okay. So the declaration over here, I'm going to use a keyword called structure Mara. So here is very simple because I used a table name. If it is not a table name, very specific internal table, specific structure you have been used, then you can skip. But the best practice is you have to mention it. So you have to create a table type. In SE11, you have to create a table type and just make use of the table type over here. So type and then give a table type. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is, here Mara is, okay, no data, right? I can say select star from Mara into table IT Mara up to 10 rows. Same thing here, you can mention 20. Okay, so the count is going to differ. Oh, sorry, it's not in IT. Again, the same mistake I did. Formal parameter name I have to give. Okay, let's have a breakpoint. F8. Now, what is the actual count? 10. And if I execute this line now, currently it's 10 because it's received. They received the value from actual to formal parameter. I'm inside the subroutine and execute. I'm going to execute the select statement. It reflects formal, actual as well as the actual parameter. So now it's 20. It's not go out to the main program. It's still in subroutine. Just come out of the subroutine. It's not reached the main program, but it's reflected in your actual parameter because tables is always called by reference. Okay. So hope this might be useful for you. Subroutine. Just play around. Okay. Let me do one more thing for you. How to call a subroutine from another program. Anyway, I have another program. Let's do that as well. Subroutine 2, right? I'm going to call a subroutine from another program. So here, okay. So if the subroutine has parameters instead of manual, I can do tables, this one, right? Okay, let me copy this from the source program and keep it here. So this is from program 3, right? CJI sub 3. So of program name, you have to mention it. So what happens once the control comes, it will go and execute the informations from your another program and just return, if any return parameters, it just return packet. So here I need to declare a few things because it needs to be one of the parameters. So all mandatory parameters you have to give type table of Mara, and I need a work area type Mara. Okay. Execute. Let me have a breakpoint and then see. I'm going to execute the program 2 and subroutine is available in subroutine definition is available in program 3. So press F5. So it takes me to subroutine 3 subroutine 3 program, sub 3 program directly to the subroutine definition. It won't disturb any other code. Directly go to subroutine and execute and come back. Okay. So currently I didn't pass anything from the another program. It's empty internal table. So if I execute, it have 20 records and I press execute, it just go out of the subroutine and goes to the main program where the subroutine is getting called. Okay. Oops, I have the debugging option enabled, that's why. Okay, I don't have any other valid statement also. Let me have this. Right, F5, it goes to subroutine 3 program, another program, and execute. Just come to the program from where you called the subroutine. Okay, so this is the way to call a subroutine from another program. There is another option while calling a subroutine from another program. For example, if I say by mistake I give a different name for the subroutine, or the program is created by someone else, is created by some other project, maybe after some time they might change the subroutine name, or they delete the subroutine without knowing that this subroutine might call from another program. It might happens, okay, between the projects. So in that case, what happens is, for example, if I give the different name, or just imagine that subroutine is got deleted from the program where it's defined, then it will go to a short dump. Okay, so if I press F5, it won't give any syntax error because this subroutine is not available in your current program. It is different in some other program, so you can't, it won't give any syntax issues as well. So if I press F5, it goes to short dump saying call performed to a non-existent external routine. So it's not available because it's found the statement that could not be executed. That subroutine is not available in the program. So what we had to do was, there is an option. So as I mentioned, it's available now. Maybe after a few years, they might delete it or change the name. So there is an option called if found. So if the subroutine is found, yes, go and get it. This is to avoid the short dump. Okay, it's always a best practice. If you're going to call a subroutine from another program, make use of this option if found. So if I execute it, so update Mara 2 is not available. Just press F5. So it's not available, then it just keep on continuing the current program. It won't go to short dump. Okay, good. This is about subroutines. So play around with this. Thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, please let me know. See you in the next video. Bye.